Okay, so we are now recording. So my name is Christine Berencz. I've been in the business with Archer and Evolution for 2.5 years now. I started maybe January 6th of 2022. When I started, I had been working in restaurants and been like a server. I'd done events and been a wedding coordinator for a lot of years. So I was used to a service-based business. I was used to not getting paid until everything was finished, right? Even with being a server, you don't get paid until the meal is done and then the night is done, right? And in weddings, you don't get paid until the wedding happens. So that was a much more long term. So when I jumped into this business and I understood that it wasn't by the hour, you weren't getting paid by the hour, but you were going to be paid nicely once everything was said and done. And I knew how much work I wanted to put into things. It all just kind of like my mindset was able to shift from a regular W-2 to more of a commission-based 1099. And I kind of took off running. So I always joke with Krista that when I started, I think I went to a presentation at like 9 p.m. I enrolled at 10 p.m. at night when my kids were in bed. And I was finished with all of my enrollment, like my onboarding process by midnight. And I announced myself at like 7 in the morning the next morning. Like I was like, I'm going to make this work, right? 10-day money back guarantee. Within 10 days, I'm going to know whether or not this is going to work for me. And my first day, I had 3 inquiries. Now, you have to understand this was coming off of COVID. So a lot of people were ready to travel, but they didn't know what they could do. They didn't know where they could go. So I did have a lot of success up front simply because there was a huge demand for it. The good thing for anyone getting started right now is that the demand is shockingly still very high. And people are getting used to kind of what Susan mentioned, kind of like an Instacart, kind of a DoorDash mentality where they understand that time is money these days, right? So unless they really love pouring through the internet for 8 hours a day, trying to find the best deal, trying to find the best hotel, resort, cruise, trying to understand all of that, they can actually work with a travel advisor typically for no money up front, right? They can work with us. We can get them the best deals. We can get them exactly what they need in their booking. And we're going to take great care of them and nurture them along the way, right? And so that's really the mentality that's coming out of COVID, which is great. So don't be discouraged if you haven't had bookings yet. They will come, but it's great to have a good foundation and be organized so that when they do come, you aren't scrambling, you aren't missing anything, and you're really taking great care of your customers. Close this real quick. All right, so getting started here. Let me see where I'm at. The reason why I had these first windows open is for anyone who's still really new in the business. If you don't understand where trainings are, that's going to be the first thing you want to do when you're getting organized is just jumping into trainings. So jumping in on this one. It's a great way to do it. So if you go to your back office right here, these are the corporate trainings that are offered and they're on the back office. Can everybody see that screen right there? And this is what's going on right now, but it might be different next month. Remember, 4th of July is coming up soon, so that's going to change too. Going into your travel cafe, they have a schedule here. So their schedule is also kind of organized. It's more Monday to Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they typically have like an Archer Travel morning briefing, which is kind of like a news update, what's going on right now, especially with holidays, especially with weather and hurricanes. And then they're going to have a very organized schedule in terms of Wednesdays and Thursdays, where one week they're going to talk about this particular supplier, or they're going to talk about a different destination. And then they repeat it year after year because things are always changing. All right, so those are 2 things to kind of get you organized in terms of a schedule. Now, if you're on this training here, you are most likely within Travel Knowledge, which means that we have our website here. So again, getting started, make yourself familiar with this page. We also have a Facebook page. Some teams have Discord, some use Facebook Messenger. Some other teams use Telegram, whatever it is that your team uses to kind of let you know what our team is also offering, something like this, where it's like a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more one-on-one or small group trainings. So under live trainings here, the month just changed, so kind of ignore that it says June there, but this one says July here. So you'll click on this, or you can scroll through the flyers and find something that's interesting to you. Okay. And they're also going to have the corporate trainings in there too, but not the Archer Travel because that's every single week. When you open that up, this is in Google Sheets, so it's a very interactive sheet, which means a couple people have admin access to it. They can update it as things go. And she's going to color code things here. So she has it organized with green is corporate, blue is rising tide. So that's kind of the group above us. And purple is travel knowledge. So we're all a part of that. And then gray is if ever suppliers are doing trainings and someone notices it, they pop those on there for us too. So things might be doubled up, like there's an 11 o'clock and 11 o'clock, a 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Sometimes you just have to choose which is most important to you. And then, every single week, whether or not we do it, if you want to hop in every week, like to a Q&A, you're always going to learn something new. So those are kind of the 3 schedules that you should be paying attention to. So your corporate, then your Archer Travel, and then like the team schedule, where again, we're trying to put all 3 of those schedules together for you. You can zoom in on the days. If there's ever any links, you can click on there too. All right, everybody following so far, at least in those, getting your day set up when you're first started and hopping into training so that you can be learning something new. Everybody good on that?
Question. Are we able to do the rising tide, or is that completely not for us?
No, we're allowed to hop in. So that's basically the group above us. When someone, like Krista or Sarah want to open the training up to everybody in Rising Tide, that's a bunch of different platinums and a bunch of different teams. That's kind of like thousands of people. You kind of have to have a bigger Zoom, but they know that they're going to be helpful to the entire team. That's what Rising Tide is.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure. That's a great question. Okay. So you are here. We are doing how to get your business organized. And so let's go ahead and get started. So right now is a good time to do back to school shopping. I don't know about you, but this is one of my favorite times of year. Believe it or not, before the kids even get out of school, they have back to school shopping sales. Anybody else seen those? You go to Walmart, everything's like all moved up front. So like get it back into that excitement. Like set up your desk so that you can be organized and feel like your space is ready to work, right? So I have up here, buy things like binders, clipboards, whatever works for you. A calendar, whether it is, a flip book or like a big, huge one that's the desktop calendar, something that hangs on the wall, or using your phone calendar so that you have it on the go. Using things like notebooks, folders. So some people like the spiral bound ones. Some people like the composition notebooks. I don't like either of those. I'm a big binder person, but I also love clipboards. Like I do. You can see kind of like a row of clipboards up here. So contracts that I'm currently working on, or I need to like pop up that are working like in progress right now. Once they're done, I pop them in the binder because they're good to go until the client like reaches out to me again. Get all the fun stuff. Get highlighters. If color coding helps you, get highlighters, get colored pens. You're going to want staplers. You're going to want, all the little push pins, clips, all the fun stuff, right? Hole punch it. Like I just love putting things in binders. And then the big ones, you're going to need a good printer and you're going to need a laptop that knows what it's doing. So because you're going to want to organize things in files on your computer too, you're going to be wanting to print contracts for your clients. So you want to have almost as if this is your home office, right? And this is my little joke, but Krista and I talk about this all the time. It's one of my favorite things to say. It's all a tax write-off. All these things that you're doing to set up your business. So if you need a new laptop, if you need a new printer, if you need ink, if you need paper, if you need binders, clips, all these things are things that you are using to make your business successful. Okay. And even things that I didn't add on there, which kind of get into like really nurturing your client, like thank you cards, stamps, Christmas cards, those type of things that, make your client know that you are still thinking about them or thanking them for booking a trip with them. Some people send them gifts like luggage tags, so lots of mailers. So just go to like that section and buy all the things and get your office set up. I think the one thing I forgot to write on there was like whiteboards. I'm a big whiteboard person too. So I have like, when I'm mentoring, what I'm learning about, what I need to learn about, what I need to do with bookings, and what I need to do. Sometimes just personal stuff is on there too. So kind of creating that list, upcoming payments, all those type of things, whatever works for you in your brain, whether it's all digital or whether it's all writing it all down. And again, whiteboards, clipboards, binders, whatever's your favorite thing, go out and buy it. So don't hold back on that. Does that make sense? Put in there, what's your favorite thing? Like, what gets you going? Like, do you just love a good planner? I know Victoria does. Victoria loves color coding her planner. She likes doing like, her top 3 goals. She does like gratitude. I can feel it. I could be wrong. I'm going to look at the chat box. Let's see. Am I right on that one? Dry erase words. Absolutely. Color coding your planner. I used to love doing that. Yep. I like that kind too, Amanda. That's my favorite. I can't stand the spiral bound for some reason. Digital planner, that's good too. I have one in Canva too. You like, yeah, sticky notes. I've got tons of those color coded sticky notes. Yeah, there are some days where I'm writing in my planner and I'm bringing it in my purse, and there are other days where I'm just running off my phone because I'm just on the go too much. So I need to have it on my phone. I need to have like alarms going. Yeah, and listen, don't worry about not being sure yet. Like, you'll figure out what works best for you. If you're like, one day you might need something written down and the next day you might need it on your computer. Google Calendar is great. I'm not very good with Google Calendar, but I'm good with the calendar on my phone, but I'm not good with like the desktop version. But some people, yeah, absolutely love that. Okay, the next screen I have here. For my binders, the way I kept organized when I was first starting was I would do different topics. So at first it was all in one binder. Like my whole business was in one binder. But then as I started to, it was just getting really fat. So I started making different binders. So some of the topics of the binders or the organization or the folders that I have were things like destinations, all-inclusives, cruises. So when I started getting into cruises, like, different cruise lines like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Virgin Voyages, notes that I was taking, or webinars that I was attending with the suppliers, and then jotting down like, what are the sales going on right now, versus also really going through and diving deep into the supplier training and taking the notes as I went. So sometimes I would write the notes and sometimes I would do them digitally. It depended on where I was and how busy I was. But what I want to stress here is when you're doing these types of things, learning, you can learn it, but you want to also be implementing it. So make sure that take those notes, but also get into your social media and just be like, hey, learned about Disney today, or, oh my gosh, had a great meeting with our Virgin Voyages rep and learned, there's this great sale going on. So make sure you're taking it and implementing it. That'll solidify it a little bit better, right? So take the notes, but also say, what am I going to do with this information? And make sure to do it kind of all at the same time. That way it really solidifies it for you. You can do topics like marketing. So marketing, Chris and I joke about this again. Never knew I had to do as much marketing or as much training in marketing as I do right now. Like, that is a huge thing that we do every single day, especially when you get into it. You really understand what it is you're learning about, how to market that, how to sell that to people, right? So yes, you can absolutely do business cards and hand them out to people. But you can also do social media and reach a larger audience, right? You can also do Facebook and Google ads. You can do a website. You can do SEO. There's so much. You can do Instagram, TikTok, all the different platforms, LinkedIn, right? Telling people what it is you do, telling people, like, educating them, entertaining them, engaging them. So that's all marketing. So when you learn about marketing, you got to have a whole binder of all your ideas for how you're going to reach people and generate leads, people coming in, people being interested in your business and you helping them. Another topic is mentoring. So if you choose that you want to be a mentor, you want to build a team, those are some trainings that you could pop into. And there's plenty of those during the week too. So learning the different platforms where you can tell people, hey, I'm here to be your mentor. I'm here to train people. We are here to make money from home. So you can have a whole binder on learning how to be a great mentor and, organizing your team so that you know what their niches are, what their interests are, where they're stuck, how long they've been in the business. So you can have a whole organization system and a binder for your team if you want to do mentoring. And then the biggest one I have is probably all my inquiries. So I have a binder of inquiries. Anyone who reaches out via, text, instant messenger, email, my website, social media, phone call, leads come in all sorts of different ways, right? And I have to organize them. So I have a whole binder and I fill out a little form. And I'm going to show you these forms. That'll be like the next step. So I'm going to get into it. I've got all these tabs open, and I'm going to share them with you too, so that you can either use them digitally or you can print them out. Whatever works best for you. I do both. I use them digitally and I print them out. So organizing your inquiries, so the ones that come in, and then once they've booked, then I move them into a different binder of booked clients. And again, what I kind of use my clipboards up here, as in someone inquired and I'm working the lead, I'm making quotes for them. Once they get booked and I've sent them a thank you card, I kind of file it away, and then it goes into my booked binder. And then I have binders for past clients. So clients they've traveled, I've been paid the commission. Now they go into a past clients folder. And the reason why I do that is because I want to continue to nurture them. I want to send them Christmas or New Year's or anniversary cards, things like that. And I want, or even you can set up like quarterly things. Treat yourself like you're a realtor, right? If you ever worked with a realtor, they send out little mailings, they send out little cookies, little Christmas cards, things like that. Just keeping yourself top of mind. You could be emailing them, newsletters every month. So create a strategy that you want to nurture your past clients so that they become clients for life. And I have a training on that too. But also so that those past clients not only keep you top of mind, but refer you to other people. Because when you think about the travel business, people don't necessarily travel 5 times a year. Some people do. And when I meet those people, man, do I hold on to them and ask them if they have friends. But some people travel once every 5 years, right? So nurturing those past clients so that you're always top of mind. If you did a great job and you served them well and they had a great trip, they're going to tell other people. And that's really how you're going to start spiraling in leads. So when your referral business takes off, you can sort of take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit with really pushing lead gen, because your referrals will be bringing all that in. Okay. Any questions so far? Does this make sense? This last one I had here, I didn't want to bullet it. I don't know why, but I just wanted to make sure you guys know you're going to be putting down, if you're new, there's a lot of passwords and logins. You're going to be getting certificates as you go through trainings. And then also just making like a list of all your favorites. Like, what's your favorite cruise line? Like, you particularly, like, what's your favorite destination? What's your favorite vendor to use? So like writing these things down, or when you hop into these trainings, if someone says, like, my clients want to go to Greece. Gosh, I hear that all the time right now, right? What's the best vendor to use? If you hear somebody ask that on a Q&A and you hear 3 different people say 3 different things, write those things down and be like, okay, next time I have a client say they want to go to Greece, I'm going to write down those top 3 favorite vendors that I'm going to search. So it's going to make your time a lot easier. So hopping into those trainings and hearing those things, specific destinations, specific, like Alaska cruise is another one where you want to have like a top 3. Don't go down the rabbit hole of yes, there's 10 different cruise lines there. Like, what are your top 3 that you want to focus on so that you can help your client best? All right, so those are some of the topics that I have when it comes to my binders and my organization. And then lastly, let's see, next one, just software in general. So those were all like physical things, but also in terms of software. So people love Word, Excel, or Notes when it comes to like Microsoft Office. But if you don't have Microsoft Office, that's perfectly fine. You can use things like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Presentation, like all that, Google Forms. So learning whichever one works best for you so that you can keep yourself organized. So making spreadsheets or just making lists in Word or Notepad. Some other software that a lot of people use in terms of creating like organized itineraries for their clients are things like Canva. And there's a free version of that where you can do the paid version. And always ask your mentor if they already have like a paid version. Either they can give you a referral code for discounts, or they can add you kind of to their team so that maybe you can kind of share accounts and help keep the cost down on those things. So Canva is really great for organizing yourself. Travify and TravelJoy are very similar. They're both the same thing. So you don't want both. But if you need to keep your quotes organized, you want to present a great looking quote to your clients. This is more specifically when you're going to be doing like kind of multiple components, because you want something that looks really nice. So if you have people like hopping around Hawaii, you have an itinerary of that, or hopping around Greece, or hopping around Italy, or you might have like a cruise where they have to fly to a hotel, then a cruise, then a hotel, then back. So multiple components. That's where you're really want to jumping into software that's going to make a good looking itinerary. If you're booking for someone, they just want like just Disney tickets or just a cruise and that's it, like don't worry about software so much. But once you hit that roadblock of, gosh, I really need to have an organized looking itinerary that looks super professional, talk to your mentor and ask them if they have a Travefy or Traveljoy. Those are like the two top softwares for having a really beautiful looking proposal and itinerary for your clients so that you come across really professional and organized. And then the last one, so these are things that a lot of people on the team use. I don't use every single one of them, but I'm familiar with them. But if you feel like you need to get organized in your social media, Socialmonials is one of them. Zoho is another one. And I'm sure there's even more software out there. These are going to be paid software. But basically what they do is you can make a social media post and it can post it to multiple platforms all in one. You can schedule. You can just use Meta if you'd like. That one is free. Go High Level and Zapier. Again, when you get a little farther into it, you have so many clients, just, a spreadsheet isn't really cutting it. Or say you want to move into Facebook and Google ads. And remember how I told you this is going to start off real easy, right? Paper clips, binders, printer, laptop into much more paid software, right? So figure out where you're at. And then you're going to move into these things, right? So if you get so overwhelmed because you have so many clients, right? You're dealing with like five leads a day. These are the goals, right? Like, lead after lead. You need some sort of organization to make sure that there's some automation coming in, right? So like a lead comes in, they get a thank you so much for reaching out to us. Someone will be with you shortly, some sort of automation there. And then putting them in as like a lead so that they've got their name, their email, their phone number. That's what Zapier and Go High Level are going to do. So kind of just keep that kind of in the back of your brain. These are paid software that can really automate your life. And you probably see a lot of this when you're on social media. You just don't realize that this is how people are getting these massive amounts of leads in and handling them. So those are some things that kind of like next level. All right. Jumping into some of the forms that I created. Again, these are things that work for me. They work for how my brain works. So take them, use them, or take them, modify them to what works best for you. But this is how I kind of got myself organized when I first started. So this Google spreadsheet, if you guys can see, this is actually created by I think it was another Christine, but it's someone who works on Marnie's team. So if you guys have ever heard of Marnie Hernandez, she does the certificate recordings. So when you want to be certified in Aruba or Disney or one of the cruise lines, she's constantly running these. You might see her flyers up every month. Let me pop back into, where is it? Into the live trainings, and you'll see like the Marnie training. So she goes along and does certifications with our team, like the whole Rising Tide as a whole. So the larger group. And so keep an eye out for those trainings. You'll fall in love with Marnie. But sometimes she does things that it's not really like what you need to learn about right now, but she records everything. So everything she records, it's just not on there, or it's just not loading. Everything that she records, you can find on YouTube. So once you find her YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to it. And that way you'll get all this. So I'm going to pop these all in the chat right now. So kind of pull them, put them into like a Word document or a notepad right now. All right. So I'm going to hit share. And I'm going to link, and I'm going to put this in the chat. Now, just so you know, this is something that is constantly moving. So it's constantly being updated by Marnie and her team. You can absolutely go to, when you get a hold of this, go to File. Is that popping up? Okay. File and go to Make a Copy, and make a copy for yourself. Now, when you make a copy for yourself, it's not going to be continually updated like Marnie's is, but you can organize it yourself. So if you want to, so she has everything kind of organized alphabetically, like by destination or by topic on the left side. At the top, she has kind of like where these trainings are housed. She's always going to have the website that'll get you directly to it, and how to, little notes that she's put on there. And then she even puts in her YouTube links to take you straight to that training. So say you have a client and they want to learn about Aruba, or they want to go to Aruba, and you're like, oh my gosh, I could just watch this YouTube. And she has the date here. The last time she did this was January 23, which it's not that outdated. And you can just watch the YouTube, and she's going to show you exactly where to go to be certified as an Aruba specialist. Okay. And then here's the link right here. So some of these trainings are super short, 20, 40 minutes. Some are 3 hours and 4 sessions. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Don't try and watch all of these at once, but it is a huge resource that she has created. And one of the girls has beyond organized it. So you can see, gosh, we're all the way down at like almost basically 400 trainings that she's done. And she repeats these. She repeats them for everybody so that, you know, if you're new and you haven't done the Disney training yet, you can hop in there. All right, cool. Yes, her specialist trainings are amazing. I mean, and she's just so much fun too. You really get to love her. When you get a little more of a time crunch though, like that kind of where I'm at, sometimes I just speed them up. So I go in, I do the playback speed, and I speed her up a little bit so you can kind of get through it a little bit faster. Also, I might skip to just the quiz part, and then I do the training on my own, the way I want to do it at my speed. But then when I get to the quiz, if I need a little help, I forward it all the way to Marnie doing the quiz. And sometimes the questions are a little out of joint, disjointed, but I'm going to get the answers and I'm going to make it through so I can get on to the next training and get through that certification so that I'm prepared to help my client the best I can. All right. So that is a huge one. This is the certificate recordings. I hope you guys all grab that link, save it for later. Once you've opened it, if you're in Google Sheets and if you're logged in as Google, it will be in there. Sometimes you just have to find it, but she also links it pretty much every single time she starts a training. So if you lose the link, ask somebody for it, like the Discord or Facebook, wherever in the team, they can probably give you that link. And that's the one that's always active. So if you make a copy of it, it will now be static. It will be just you fixing it. For hers, it will constantly be updated as she does trainings. Okay. Another form that I created when I first got started. So I was doing a lot of learning in the beginning, right? And then I was doing a little bit of promoting. So I was doing a little bit of, getting into Facebook groups and sharing ads and like just even introducing myself into Facebook groups. So I created a spreadsheet that got me organized on Facebook groups. So I just won't load. I'm going to share this. So again, I wrote up here, go to file, make a copy. And then this is your document to customize. So you don't need to hit like share request. It'll make it easier for you. And then when you need more lines, you just kind of highlight and then kind of create more lines as you go, as you join more groups. But I did it this little short area so that I could type in here real quick. And this is just what I get from listening to tons of trainings on marketing, right? So types of groups that you want to find. These are just ideas, and just like kind of stay local and then kind of move bigger. But these are some ideas of groups that you can join. You can also create your own group. I've seen tons of people have success with creating their own group. Well, as you're getting started, just kind of get yourself out there in the community, figure out who your audience is. Like, are you looking into family groups, moms groups, yard sale groups, people who love deals, knitting groups, cooking groups, any type of groups that you might resonate with. Start getting yourself added into groups, and then you can use any of these topics that they help you. So the name of the group, you can link it if you need to. You can write how many members. So I know this is something I learned from Jody. Like, is there 200 members or is there 4,000 members? So what's your audience? Who's really looking at this? If they have rules, you can do that. If they have specific dates, you can share your business, like Sunday, share your business. And then when you start posting into these groups, you can say like, I posted on this date, then I posted on this date. And also, like, I used a little color coding or wrote a little note next to it, what ad I posted, and whether or not it actually like got posted. Sometimes they won't post them for you. So let me share this spreadsheet for you, and hopefully that will help too. I can view. Okay, copy. And again, all you want to do is go to File and go to Copy. All right, so that link is in there. Yeah, sorry. I was just popping through the chat looking at that. If you watch the videos, you get certified. No, so when you watch the videos, it's just like if you and I were doing it together, we're going through the certification together. You still need to log into the program, register, and get certified. It's just kind of like we're doing it as a group. But again, with the recordings, it's just kind of like you're watching it. So you can kind of get help. It's also good to read it and listen to someone speaking the words too. It's going to hit more parts of your brain that you're going to memorize it a little bit better. It's kind of fun doing it as a group. So you're not just doing the trainings alone. Lucinda, you're already overwhelmed by how much training there is with suppliers or YouTube. Yes. So that's a great thing that you said. It is extremely important and it takes time, but to really hone down on what it is you want to do, right? So if you are a travel advisor selling the whole world, plus cruises, plus Disney, plus Universal, plus Greece, plus Hawaii, like you're going to lose your mind. I can tell you that right up front. So hone down and at least focus on one type of marketing, like pick the cruises, all-inclusives, honeymoons, international, like Greece or Italy, like become the specialist in that and then branch out a little bit, but at least focus on one thing that you know really well. Because when someone says, oh my gosh, I need a destination wedding, you want someone to say, oh my gosh, Christine is the girl you want to talk to because she talks about destination weddings all day long. So you want to have that, be it cruises, all-inclusives, whatever it is that you are a specialist in. You know, like when I have people say, I want to go to Italy, I'm like, I know exactly who I need to talk to, who's been to Italy, who sells clients in Italy, and that's their niche. So choose a niche, really hone in on it, whether it's family travel, group travel, corporate travel, exotic, like African safaris, Holy Land. What is it that moves you and get focused in on that? Also, what makes you really good money too. So focus in on that too. If that will keep you less overwhelmed, getting focused on that. All right. A couple more things I did. So I really liked the quote form that you're given when you first sign up with your first website, right? So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me pop into that real quick. So going into your back office, sorry, this is going to kind of move fast, going into your travel site, getting that set up, right? So this is like the website that you get with Evolution. When you scroll into this and you get it set up, put like a little blurb there, put a picture there, put your email, your contact information right here on the vacation quote request. So when I first started, I used this for my whole first year until I decided I wanted to focus on honeymoons and destination wedding. It was like my new year, new me. So I created my own website. So it took me a good year to really say, this is what I want my niche is. So I hear you. I feel the struggle. This is a great form though. So if you haven't played with it yet, play with it and get familiar with the questions that they ask. So you can share this with your clients and they can click through this. So from these questions, I created a form. So I did a couple forms. I did a digital, like a Google form, but I also did a physical. I just want a physical form. So I did, and I just made this pretty for me. So if I hit like print, right, I put like a little graphic up there. I put my business name up there, and I kept changing it. Like I printed 5 copies off, and then I was like, oh gosh, I kind of want the phone number or the email, or I want more room over here. So, you know, keep modifying it to whatever works best for you to flow as you talk with people on the phone or as you're intaking people via email or messenger, however people are reaching out to you. So for my form, I put like, who's your lead guest? Usually who's your second guest? If there's more, I just kind of popped them in this blank space here. Put their contact information, like their email, their phone. And I'm going to share this with you guys so you have it. And you can, again, just change the little graphic if you want. You can create it in Canva. Mine's super basic. I like Excel. I like spreadsheets. And you could put your business name here. But these are all, I just gathered them from that preliminary website that they gave us. And I rolled with the questions that they asked, right? So what are the dates they're looking for? Is it flexible? Who is in the party? Are there any kids? What are their ages or birthdays? You know, are there any discounts? Do they have a budget range? Do they have a trip duration? Is it 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks? Where do they want to go? At least getting them narrowed down. What kind of vibe are they looking for? What kind of activities? What kind of room type? Inclusions? Resort preference? If they need a car? Are they traveling for a special occasion? So that helped me when I was taking in inquiries and really knowing what kind of conversation to have. Or when people sent me like just all this jumbled information, I could at least get it organized so I know where to look for it when I'm getting started on creating a quote for people. And then I left myself tons of room down here to create notes. As you know, random stuff would come in like, oh, they don't like this particular airline, or they don't like these particular destinations, or they've already been to this resort. They want to try something different. So I use all that for notes. And then I would also use separate pages for as I was getting started in my research, like what flights looked best for them, what resorts do I want to recommend to them. So this is where this is my inquiry sheet, and I use this to this day. I'll print them in like batches of 10. I hole punch them and I pull them out and put them on my clipboard as I take in an inquiry. And then my next one, now this one's my favorite one. This one I get from having done weddings for forever. I want, once they're booked, now what do I do, right? So like it's a long gap. It's not usually that you're booking somebody and they're leaving next week. Sometimes it's a year with travel. So let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I made this form and I changed it again multiple times. I put my little logo up the top because it made me happy because I created a logo. And then I put the name of the clients and I put the date of their travel there. And then did I print the contracts with the payment information? Did I set up any payment dates in the calendar, right? So a lot of our vendors, it's a deposit now and payment later. So I want to set that up either physically on a calendar, on a sticky note, on the file, in my Travefy, on my phone, in reminders, so I can remember 2 weeks out. I even send an email to myself. I do not want to miss a final payment for a client. Like, we are facilitating these payments. I need to make sure that we're getting those payments in. Now, fortunately, a lot of our vendors are creating systems where when you put the deposit in, they're like, hey, do you want to set up the final payment? I.e. like Carnival and Royal Caribbean, both of them have that feature so that it's not on you to miss that final payment. Vax, I think, has even set that up now where you can set up, like, if you've already input a credit card, do you want to save that on file for the final payment? But otherwise, I'm also setting up payment dates in the calendar. In my calendar. I love to print the credit card form out. So I print the form out that has their signature on it. I put it in their file. It doesn't have the full credit card number on it. It just has what they've signed. I immediately want to be entering in that commission because otherwise I'm going to forget, right? And then they're going to have traveled. I'm like, why didn't I get that commission? So print all the things out, enter in the commission. It's already done. And then I just check it off, or I'll write the date, or I'll write any additional notes if I need to write notes. Did I enter in for additional points or rewards? Again, I'm going to send this to you guys, so hopefully that's helpful to you. So sometimes the hotels might have additional rewards, like if it's Secrets Hotels or Sandals Hotels, they're going to give you like racking up loyalty as a travel advisor for booking with them. The flights, that's sometimes more for them, loyalty points with the flights. Cruise is another one that I typically write in there. I guess I hadn't put it on my form, but cruises typically also give you loyalty points for having booked with them. Some of these are automatic as soon as you book. Some of them you have to kind of redeem or track or log them. So that's another training in and of itself. But basically, whatever components you're booking, you should be earning loyalty in other ways too. Then I send them a thank you card and I put business cards in it. And I always say, thank you so much for, choosing my name or to book this. I look forward to, working with you on additional details. It depends on the client and exactly what's going on with the booking. And then I always ask for the referral, right? So you're hitting them on a high. They just booked with you. They love you. Make sure you give them business cards and say, and if there's anyone else either who wants to join you on this cruise or who might benefit from my services, I would be so honored if you would give them my information, right? So that's how you really build clientele. So make sure that as a part of your process is asking for the referral at time of booking. You can ask for the referral again once they've traveled and they said, oh my God, that resort was amazing. Thank you so much. That's great. I'm so glad. If you have anyone else, right? If there's anyone else, because they're going to sing your praises. Everything was amazing. So at the time of booking and at the time of travel, when they're thanking you, when they're doing the review of the resort and of you, ask them if they have anyone else who might be able to use your services. So for me, I use Travefy. So here I have update the Travefy itinerary. So once they've hit final payment, usually itinerary details. Sometimes for cruises, you get it a lot earlier. So I go in there and I'll pop in like confirmation numbers, details on transfers and things like that. Anything that comes in that final itinerary, I'm going to put that in Travefy for them. And then I'm going to print the confirmations. I also like that just in my folder so that If they're in travel, I bring the file with me in my car. I've been caught quite a few times where someone's been like, oh my gosh, I can't, they're not like, they don't have my car rental. I'm like, the confirmation number is right here. I have it right in my hands. So I print those confirmations out. I also have them via email. And then, oh, well, maybe that was the other one. So then this one, I know this seems a little crazy, but this is just my thing to do. I created a what to know before you go. I have a training on this too. I'm going to share my YouTube channel with you. I hope it's helpful. But I send them a 2 weeks prior to what to know before you go. I have one for cruises, one for international, and one for domestic. I got a lot of this from Google. I will literally say I Googled what to know before you go. What should a travel advisor be reminding you of 2 weeks prior to travel, or something like I Googled that and I just made it my own. Things like, don't forget to bring your passport. Don't forget to tell your credit card company, your phone company that you're leaving the country. In case there's anything that you need to know in terms of minutes, or letting your credit card company know that you've left the country so that they don't shut your credit card down. Just sending your itinerary to another person, taking a picture of your passport, all those things. I have a full training on that of what I send my clients. And it's just a little form. They kind of check it off as they go, just things to think about. So they can be like, okay, my travel advisor was thinking of everything, because people are busy these days. They're going to forget the little tiny details. And it's nice for you to send them not just a packing checklist, but also don't forget to set your out of office on your email and go and have a great time as your closer, just something silly like that. And then I absolutely send them a gift. So either I send them a gift before they travel, during their travel, or after their travel. And sometimes that just matters on how busy I am. So sometimes if I'm like, oh my gosh, they're traveling right around Christmas and I'm going to be busy, I might send them a gift before they travel. So depending on the type of travel they're doing, I do a lot of honeymoons. So I typically send like a bottle of sparkling, like bubbly, like champagne or Prosecco, so that either to make their packing easier or to make their unpacking easier as they get back into reality, I send a bottle of bubbly. Some clients' cruise ships make it super simple for you to add a gift to them. And again, that's literally something you Google. How do I send a gift to someone on a Royal Caribbean cruise? And it'll take you right to the page where you could send them like a cheese and fruit platter, or a bottle of wine, again, or chocolate covered strawberries. You can send them those things to them on the ship. Some resorts are also either have something already planned for your guests and just look into, especially VAX details, and then you can kind of send that along to them. But if it gets too costly, just send them something in the mail that's much easier for you. So luggage tags, whatever works best for you, send them some sort of gift physical that they have. That'll get them super excited. And then when they return, did I send them a review? So I check these things off. I even write the dates down that I do them on to keep myself organized, to make sure I did every single thing, right? And to be honest, this little space up here, when I have it printed out, that's where I write down what the commission is that I'm expecting, what the reservation number is real quick. If I need to know the phone number of like VAX or Royal Caribbean, I write that in this little area up here. And then I write when that commission got paid. That's what I write up on this little area here. I just didn't create like a box for it. Okay, so let me share that before I forget. Anyone with the link, copy this. I'll put this in the chat. Did you guys find those helpful? Those are some of my, like, I use them every single time forms. It's the inquiry form. I keep it in the file, and my book is like my cover sheet of my file of things like, did I print it off? Did I set up payments? Did I send thank you cards? Did I print it? Did I send them a gift? Did I send them a review? Like nurturing your clients throughout, making sure you did it. Okay. ChatGPT is the best. Oh, hey, Lee. I wrote, how do you, provide the most recent link. Yep, that's amazing. Is that the paid version of ChatGPT? If you do that, when you say provide like the most recent article that shows that, where it like really dives into the current internet, is that the paid version? You know me.
It's not paid. It's like the 3.5, but it works. Yeah.
I mean, even a year and a half ago, still perfectly fine. I like it. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I love ChatGPT. Google, ChatGPT, always your friends. Okay. Did everybody get that link there? Did I share it correctly? Okay. I can see you guys like popping in over here. See how it does that? Okay. Then what else do I have? I'm going to go a little faster with these last two. This one I think I use more often, so I'll show you this one first. Let me see if I can get it to load. So I track my bookings, and this one I've just created as a blank document for you guys to see, because again, this is recorded, it'll be on YouTube. I didn't want any client information on there, so I just made a copy of this, and then I just put like an example in here. So, you know, use this as needed. I did 2024 here. You can duplicate the sheets. If you need any help with Google Sheets, literally just Google it, YouTube, always your best friend to learn how to use Google Sheets or Excel, and change these as needed, right? So for an example, I made a booking on January 12th. I might write just whatever's going to trigger my memory. So maybe their name or the type of booking, like Carnival Cruise, how much the sales were, how much I do the full commission, and then I do the math on this one. So I like do D4, like this sell times 80% to get my commission. I write down like when they're traveling, and then I bump it out a month and a half. So I bump it out 45 days because I do worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario, I'm going to be paid about 45 days. And then after that, I kind of want to do the where's my commission form. So I type that in. I also do the residual side of the business. I mentor. So for here, I do like, I have one account. My accounts are at $69.95 because I've been here too long. I'm old, so I have the old one. And then, so for example, if I'm a silver, I get paid something like 100. And then I do, okay, I made $30 this month instead of spending $70 this month, right? So I also track my residual over here. And then I even like write what the balance of the account is at. So that's how I track my bookings. And then now this might not transfer well, and I'll send it to you, but so make sure that the math on these things are working. But basically I total up my month, I total up my year, and then I total up my years because I've been here 2.5 years. Because I like to see those numbers. I like to see, oh my gosh, in the past 2-3 years, I've sold this much in travel. It sounds really exciting when you say like how much I've sold in travel, and then how much commission you have actually, you know, in the pipeline, and then how much commission you've actually been paid out. So when I get paid out, I use these for writing down, okay, I got paid, you know, $500. This was the booking. So I kind of make sure it's all checked off. So this is how much I have coming up, how much I have made, and then how much I do with mentoring. And then I also kind of total them all together so that I'm like, oh my gosh, I made this much this year, this much in total. It helps out. And it gives you also goals. Like if you want a goal of selling $10,000 or $20,000 in travel in a month, that'll roughly be do like a 10% commission is what you should roughly make from your sales. So if you need to make $2,000 a month, you need to sell something like $20,000 worth of travel a month, whether that's one booking that's $20,000, whether that's 2 bookings of $10,000, or you do all the math, right? All the way down to however many it is to equal what sales you want to equal what commission you want. Okay. So let me share this one. And then I have one more I'll share real quick with you. And I do not use this as often. When I first started, I definitely wrote everything down on a piece of paper. So inquiries would come in, I just write it down like 1 or 2 lines, like, and I highlighted if they booked, I crossed it off if they didn't book, if they ghosted me or they just disappeared or they said, never mind, we didn't really want to travel. Some people just want a quote, and that's okay. It's all good practice when you're starting. To give you reference, when I first started, for every 10 quotes I did or 10 inquiries that came in, I probably booked 2. Now I'm in 2.5 years, and now it's way more like 50 to 75% of inquiries that come in, I actually book. And that's just because as soon as I see them come in, I really qualify them. Are you really ready to book? Like if you listen to Coach Val, or like, are you really actually going to book this? Or are you just looking for a quote? And this is something you and I have talked about too, Amanda, at least in the chat. It's always good practice, and it's always good to give them something vague. Because if you're ever like trying to renovate your kitchen or put a new roof on, you're probably going to ask 3 companies. That's what your mom always taught you, right? 3 companies. Is it, if I hear 40,000 4 times, I know, okay, kitchen's going to cost 40,000. Now, which one did I like the best? Which one do I feel like I really want to work with for this project, right? So just give people general information, advice, and quotes, but then really get the idea, like, are they really truly ready to book? And that'll get your like your inquiries to booking ratio a lot tighter as you get more information, as you get used to this. All right, last one. This is something I found, again, on the internet. I just Googled it, a CRM for free, for whatever. And it was a funnel. It was a Zapier funnel or a Go High Level funnel that took me down a funnel. And now I'm like in their loop. But basically I got this form for free and then I've modified it. So I'm going to send this to you guys in case you have to hop off, share. And last one, I'll pop it in the chat. Okay. So for this form, again, this is all just like some sample names I've popped in there. You can put, you can move these values around. I just kind of like the functionality of it. And then I, of course, had to YouTube to figure out how to create these little drop down and filter things. I thought they were super fun. So I put like the name, the date it was created. So you actually can double click on that and it pops up a calendar. So like, when did that inquiry come in? Is it an open inquiry? Is it closed? Did you win it? Like, are they booking with you? And you can change these words. You can change these colors. Like, do you need to follow up with them? Are they a qualified booking? Are they in like demo or negotiation? You can change all these words too. And then the last time you modified them, that I find to be very important, right? So like they asked for a quote, you followed up with them that day, follow up with them like 3 days later, 7 days later. That way, you know, you're like, okay, I set my Mondays and my Thursdays for follow-up. So I go through and I follow up with everybody, unless I write notes over here that like, oh, she's on vacation, or oh, she said she needs a month. So I'll set myself a reminder. So I use the notes section to take down any relevant notes, especially in terms of follow-up. And then I fill out the value here to get me excited again. So to get excited in the funnel, like, is it a $10,000 trip or is it a $500 trip? Like, how much, like, who's my priority here? It's always going to be the people whose trips are a little bit higher. The commission's a little bit higher, right? So that's something I just wrote a little note here. It's an example. This one also came with the functionality of a sales dashboard. And I created little charts just to be silly. I did like little pie charts and little bar graphs of like, I don't know why they won't work, but you have to trust me on this one. I think maybe I didn't put it in this copy, but I did little like, you know, how many inquiries do I have coming in January, February, March? I wrote down every single time, you know, 5 inquiries versus 20 inquiries. What months are bigger for booking or for inquiries? Just so I have a flow. Like, I don't beat myself up. But for me, I find that inquiries come in like crazy when the season changes, at least up here in PA. As soon as it starts getting warm out, people are like, oh my God, I didn't book myself a summer vacation. As soon as it starts getting freezing out, oh my gosh, I need to get away. Like, that's just the way it is in Pennsylvania. Like, inquiries would come in like 5 a day. As soon as it would start to get cold after Christmas, and people are like, oh my gosh, spring break is coming up. So just creating little systems, whatever works for you. Again, if it's just paper that works for you, that's great. If Excel makes you happy and you want to organize your stuff, that's kind of like what I like to do. But again, I also print a lot of things out and I have paper and binders and folders. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I know I kind of ranted for a little bit there. Pop any questions you have in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop the recording now.